Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Stanisci of NLL Lacrosse Talk. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV Sticks, Roku Sticks, and also all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now joining me is our co-host Gary Groob and our very special guest, John Davis Jr., senior soon to come, from what I understand. So, yeah. So, John, well, nice background, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It's my friend Pete Alliday's house, the voice of our Lakers and voice of Halifax and the voice of our Pete's. Yeah, he's been very generous, gracious. Let me set me up because when it comes to technology, I need someone to help me.
You're
All
not
Peter did is press go, and I'm good to go.
you're not
That's
alone,
awesome.
dude. You're not alone. You're not alone. Okay, we always do here, and it's always the first question we ask is why lacrosse? Did you get involved? What was the attraction?
Well, I really didn't have a choice. you
Absolutely.
know, I, I was kind of born right into it. It's just, it was a part of our lives forever. It was just dad, dad, and the joy of it, and going to the rink and learning how to use a stick and falling in love with using a stick. And next thing you know, you're playing on teams, and it just carries on from there.
Now there has to be maybe an aspect of the game that really made you want to go back. What'd you look forward to?
Scoring goals,
Okay,
scoring.
finally an honest lacrosse player.
Yeah, I like to score goals. I give me the ball. Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, good
Finishing
for you.
off the old block, isn't he?
Yeah,
Just like
and you scored your fair share, so
Well,
you could have been, I suppose, satisfied with your career.
yeah, it's I'm very happy with all the lacrosse that I played. Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely. I wouldn't have changed it, my lacrosse playing days for the world. Oh no, I wouldn't change them for anything.
an additional thing, I guess, also that we discover throughout all these interviews is that the ambiance that lacrosse offers, not just the tough stuff on the floor, but also the stuff after the game, post game, family, friends, and the environment and the fellowship that you find within the game.
Oh, especially here in Peterborough. It's a different world here. It's like a college town. It's all summer long. It's lacrosse all winter long. People talk lacrosse. It's uh, it's just here. It's just people carrying sticks everywhere you go. Yeah, our city buses, they're even painted in Lakers colors. It's a special place. It's a special place. Peterborough really is when it comes to
Whenever we talk about the history of lacrosse and the heartbeat of lacrosse,
yeah.
you're right. I mean, not because you're here, because even when you weren't here, anybody from Peterborough being on
Mhm.
here, as Gary knows, I've always had a respect for your community, and of course, Gary, same thing. We both appreciate and understand the love of the game in Peterborough. It is one of the real, by definition, hotbeds for us. In fact,
Oh,
here's what I'll tell you before we get on to the interview. We had the commissioner on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I mentioned to him, well, what do you think about a team like in Peterborough or Oshawa? Remember that, Gary?
I do. And real quickly, nope. Toronto's Jamie.
Oh,
The
I
idea that
I
came
come
across was
John.
when Toronto
Peterborough
moved to Hamilton.
Peterborough could take a team on. I know. If we had the building for a
We all
pro team,
know.
absolutely,
We all
Yeah.
know.
absolutely.
And
Well,
it's
but the idea that Frank had actually come up with was to put the team actually in Oshawa, because since Toronto moved over to Hamilton,
Hmm.
by putting it in Oshawa, you would keep the Whitby people, you would keep the Ajax people, you would keep this East Scarborough people,
I
as well
totally
as
agree.
the Coburg and the Peterborough people. And right away, you'd have an instant rivalry with the now Hamiltonish Toronto team.
Hamilton, this
right.
Toronto team.
So
Yes, I agree.
it would be a playoff series that the Peterborough Lakers would be going to Hamilton to play the Toronto Rock, and the Toronto Rock would be going to play the Peterborough Lakers in the Oshawa Arena.
With a ready arena of 10,000, right?
Yeah.
So
By the way, my company built that arena, just so you know.
Well, if we could just convince our people here to get that building for us, if we can get this we could get the next pro team in here.
I
Oh,
don't I don't see what I understand, and both Gary and I, and Gary probably for more reason because he's so connected to the Toronto Rock. We love and respect what Jamie Dowick has done.
Yep.
But if we're talking about putting a team in that area, I know the exclusivity thing in sports is so important, but for the good of the game in Southern Ontario, I just can't imagine how great that would be.
Oh, wouldn't it? Could you imagine that? That would just be unbelievable.
I've imagined it since we had the commission.
Oh,
well,
good Lord.
yeah. Well, think about it. Think about like you already have lacrosse is a way of life in Peterborough. No,
Yes.
no two ways about it.
Yes.
You know, if you would have that year round and have that kind of fire in a December, in a January, in a February, can you imagine how exciting winters are?
Oh, wouldn't it?
That would be
Like-
something else.
Like everybody would look forward to going to Peterborough even in the winter.
Well, look at even Commerce. Take a look at what it would do for Commerce because, I know game day and things are crazy in Peterborough. And I'm looking forward to it because like I said, I'm headed out there as soon as the show's over
Yeah,
for
same
tonight's
here.
game against Peterborough and Six Nations. And, I'll brave traffic, no problem, to make sure I get my butt out there.
Take
And,
on the 407.
Yep. Well, I'll find a way. Don't worry. If I have to walk, hitchhike, crawl, if I have to get a
Well,
shuttle,
right
whatever,
there he drives, it's like walking anyway. So
big old slingshot, whatever it takes, I'll get there. I'll make it in time for game time. Don't worry. But
Attaboy.
the city itself is vibrant already now. The bars in the area are vibrant already now.
Yes.
Like you're talking about MSL, which is having trouble getting 400 fans otherwise in other arenas.
Yeah.
Peterborough is selling out at 3,500 people in the Memorial Arena. It's
like for instance, last night we had our part of our 150th. We had the Cradle for the Cure and the Special Olympics event last night at the Memorial Center,
Mhm.
and we had 600-700 people maybe. Like that just shows you like you don't get that in Whitby. You don't get that in Six Nations for a normal game.
Exactly.
Like we get turnouts for like we had Johnny Grant Senior was out there, Jimmy Wasson. Dad was one of the guest coaches, and the Lakers played the teachers, and it was a heck of a night. It was a great night, a lot of money raised, a lot of fun, 5, 6, 700 people, and but that's just the way it is here. Like we could take on a team, absolutely. I have no question.
I have no doubt in my mind. I think the league is missing an opportunity by not looking at this.
Oh, I agree. Totally.
obvious, right? I mean, that's obvious. But the reason why I promote it is because of the excitement it would generate in Southern Ontario between those two teams. And it would create a real atmosphere, of where, you throw Peterborough in there where everybody knows Peterborough, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody who's played lacrosse knows Peterborough, knows
Yep.
lacrosse in Peterborough. And it's like missing half, like, it's really a lot like not having the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL or the Toronto Maple Leafs not in the NHL. It just doesn't make sense when you have
Yeah.
that kind of fandom. And I think
agree.
people are going to realize that. And the other thing is that Peterborough as a city deserves that kind of attention. People underestimate the greatness of that city when it comes to sports. I mean, I'm not very pleased with the fact that Peterborough, for the most part, are full of hockey traders. They follow the Canadians.
We used to have the Montreal Canadiens training camp here at one time.
Exactly. I kid. Okay, I'm kidding, but I'm just trying to make the point, right? The rivalry that Peterborough offers and the heat that's there. It'd be really nice to see a Rock Peterborough game. I think a Rock Lakers game. I think would be the kind of excitement. Again, I repeat, it's not about the Toronto Rock fans. It's not about about the Peterborough team Lakers fans.
Yeah.
It's about how those two teams would go onto the floor knowing who they're going to play. That's where the excitement would brew insanely.
I would put it close to it was with Junior when Orangeville and Brampton get together. That kind of rivalry.
Yeah,
or if
for
you look
sure.
at the NLL back in the early 2000s when Buffalo and Rochester both were at top of the peak of the games, and when they met, and the fandom let
Like at
alone
Toronto, Peterborough would just be bedlam.
it would be insane.
It'd be insane. And the thing is, too, if Peterborough had a team in the league, like a lot of the buildings don't sell out. They know they're coming to a sold out building that's just going to be rocking all night long.
Hmm.
That's just the way it is here. That's just the way it
I,
is here, right?
I would say it's probably be rocking from noon onward. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah,
well,
yeah.
can you imagine? You know, can you imagine? I mean, obviously, you guys know better than anybody out there. I mean, having a team in Peterborough and having Toronto Rock come in there or any other team, you know, the fact that Peterborough fans are already excited about their game. Now
Yeah.
excited about the competition against some other big name cities. Like, you know,
Oh,
you end up having Calgary come in, you know, on
yep.
a regular basis. You have, you know, all the teams. I could list them one at a time. Imagine here's another thing. Like I talked about Toronto, and the same feeling would come when the Buffalo team enters onto the rink in Peterborough.
Oh,
Because
that would be crazy.
Buffalo jersey that know what that rink is like. That's
Uh-huh.
the whole point of why I think it should be in the league, because it belongs in the league. It's not a question of whether Peterborough should be in the National Lacrosse League. It's that it belongs there. Everybody in lacrosse knows Peterborough.
Yes, we need the building. That's the problem. We need that building.
Yeah.
Like I said, my solution was Oshawa. And
Yeah.
I said that after what happened with Toronto moving to, as Gary knows, Toronto moving to Hamilton. What's wrong with Peterborough having a home arena in
Well,
Oshawa?
in Oshawa, no, nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, like, you would probably need something that would hold 10,000.
That's exactly what the place is in Oshawa, right?
Is it 10,000?
I believe it's
Oh,
10,000.
is it 10?
I believe it's the
Okay.
same size as the Coca-Cola one down in the exhibition place here.
Well, then, yeah. Okay. I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware it was 10,000.
Gary, I think it's a little bigger than the Coca-Cola.
Okay, so even better, even better.
Then
So
absolutely.
over 10,000. So
Absolutely.
I
don't
think
know.
that would be
I don't know what they would name it. I don't know what they'd name the team, but
I think it also has the other sticking one. The sticking
there's
thing
that
of I think,
Peterborough
Wales.
Oshawa rivalry too,
Mhm.
right? There's
But
that
also-
Peterborough Oshawa rivalry too.
So
We
what?
also have the no compete, right? That Jamie has. I think it's 45 miles or something like that. I think that would bypass that one too. So
Yeah, yes, it would.
it's a good enough thing. It works on all aspects. I really hope that the league reexamines it. Now we're going to get a new commissioner into the NLL. I'm hoping that maybe they reexamine that idea, because it's a win for everybody. And like I said before, commerce
I
too.
agree.
It would, if you want to influx something into downtown Oshawa.
Yeah.
Holy
Like,
smokes!
sure, I'm biased and I'm pro Peterborough, but lacrosse is Peterborough.
Yeah,
Peterborough is lacrosse. It's just the way
it's
it
just
is
like
here.
Victoria in the Western thing. You know, like
Yes.
that's what they're known for. That's the only other arena in the summer that gets over 2,000 people. Is
Yeah.
Victoria.
Yeah.
So you've got Peterborough and Victoria. So, the dream thing, of course, now with all the new TV stuff coming out, would be a Victoria Peterborough Man Cup, right?
Yeah. I played out there in '88 for the Mental Cup in Victoria. That's a big building. That is a big building, for
Why
sure.
don't we do more of that? We talked about Peterborough moving into the NL. Let's talk about you. Yeah, the reason we're here is because of you. But you know, once you mention Peterborough, it just sort of gets my juices going, because you know, it just, well, I've made my feelings known. You've let yours known, and of course Gary has as well. So we
It
all
gets a lot of lacrosse people's juices going once Peterborough gets into the conversation. I find that for
Always.
sure.
Whether you're pro or con, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Everybody has an
Absolutely.
opinion about Peterborough. So
Yep.
So let's get back to you, and that's, you know, the reason we're here is because we want to really talk about you and what you've done,
Yeah.
how you've gotten towards
coming into growing up through the Peterborough programs, let's talk a bit about the programs. We've had a bunch of people on, and they talk as glowingly as people from Orangeville talk about their program, and almost more excited about playing for the program in Peterborough or Orangeville, as the case would be, than being in the NLL. What
they're just
set aside?
Well, it's just, well, you get pros on the floor with all the kids all the time. You get ex-pros on the floor all the time. You have the old legends that are put on pedestals. These kids know that now, who these people are, and it's just, they just want to get to the rink and see these people every day, and learn from them, right? Like, it's just the same when we were kids. You know, we'd have Cy Coombs there. We'd have Larry Ferguson would be there. We'd have Parnells would be there. We'd have various people there at ours too when we were kids. right?
Right.
We would go at say 8 in the morning to the Kinsman Arena, and we wouldn't leave till 4 in the afternoon. We just take our lunch, and we were there all summer long. As soon as we left school, it was lacrosse until Labor Day weekend,
Right.
and it was all day, all weekend, all day, all weekend. We just had that kind of influence around us, and uh, and they were all champions, right? Peterborough was big. It is Peterborough was lacrosse was big then as well, like as it
Mhm.
is now, obviously, right? And it's just a Peterborough thing. You just want to get to the rink and see these guys
Yeah.
and learn from them, right? And learn from them.
That's the key. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
eh?
Now, having seen you as your dad, now did that put more? That had to put more pressure on you. I know that from having a musician father, and when I was in music, and that extra expectation was always there, no matter what.
Well, yeah, there were times when I felt a little pressure at times when you would hear things you're a kid, right? And it would kind of you would hear things like, but yeah, the pressure was a little bit there, but I didn't really care about that. Like once the game started, once a ball was dropped, it was let's go get busy. Let's fill in that. Let's move on to the next game. It's just sure there like I said there was a little bit of pressure, but I never looked at it like that. Like I tell people today how I look at dad. Like he's my dad. That's how I see him. I don't see him
Mhm.
as Johnny Shooter Davis.
Right.
That's different. I just see him as dad. That's what he does, and
Hmm.
was just so good at what he does, and not that I don't appreciate his accolades. I think what he's done for the sport, what he's done has been tremendous for sure. But I don't look at it like that. I just look at it, he's just my dad.
Right.
He's just my dad, right? And it's just yeah, it's nice having his name. It helps a few doors get open for sure when it
Yeah.
comes to the world of lacrosse. But it's just yeah, there's a little bit, but not really much. No, no, we're pretty strong bunch. We're a pretty strong bunch. We know what he's done
Hmm.
and it's all that, and we're just very fortunate to have him as our father.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you gave the understanding like during the game you got to think about the game or you won't have any success.
Oh
So
yeah, we're
if there was a line that you walked over where dad became important post game, in the middle, like sitting in a bar after the game talking to a bunch of people, then your
see.
dad's name would probably come up a lot and you would talk about him, right?
Oh
He
yeah,
at that point, that's when you get all your, yeah, my dad was one of the greatest lacrosse players.
and
Alive.
that happened all the time, all the
Exactly.
time, all the time.
Exactly. Because I want to make sure people understand that you're very proud of your father,
Oh,
and
very.
and you did talk about him. But everything has its place.
Yeah.
And being a player, you have to know what to think about when you're in the middle of the game. So, do you think the fact that you had to ignore your father's history during the game helped you to concentrate even more and be a better player?
Uh no, I didn't look at it that way. I just became really good. I just practiced hard. Like I was forever playing. Dad wasn't with us. Mom and dad split up when we were at an early age. It was seven.
Right.
I was 7 years old when dad stayed in Montreal. It was just after the Pro League of 74, 75
Hmm.
that we came back to Peterborough, mom and my two brothers, and dad stayed in Montreal. So I played lacrosse under guidance of my mom, and dad was far away in Montreal. He was paying attention too, but
Right.
I didn't. Dad wasn't there during those years, so I pretty much just played. I just played,
I
right?
understand better now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then
So,
yeah, it was like our my family was kind of a low income family. I couldn't travel and all that and do stuff like that too. Like I played for the Ontario team, but I couldn't really go. I couldn't go out east with them because I really couldn't. I couldn't afford that. My mom couldn't afford that. She had us three boys to worry about. Money wasn't flush,
right.
and and I didn't play midget A in lacrosse because of that reason as well. I backed off in midget A lacrosse because it was costing my mom a lot of money. It was all summer long tournaments and tournaments and tournaments. So a great friend of mine, Bob Kelly, who was a trainer with the Lakers for years, he was so involved with the minor league program too. And I hung out with Bob's son Sean, and they had the midget B team going, and I opted to play there in my midget year. and just for that reason. But when it come to junior, like I was 15 years old, and when I was 15, 16 years old, I had almost every team in Ontario knocking on my door. But Peterborough was going to be my only place if I was going to play anywhere, right? But so I was more or less a practice guy at 15. I would go to the games and I would go out for a warm up, but I would sit in the stands. I was doing that at 15, and then I put the stick away for 3 years. I put the stick away. I quit for 3 years and had to take care of some stuff that was going on in my life. And then I came back at 18 and I played junior B in Peterborough. We played out in Ennismore and just to get the rust off. And then in '88, I played with our juniors, and that's when we went out west to the Minnow Cup and played out in Victoria. And we lost, but they won in 86, 87. We lost it in '88, and then they won again in '89 when I didn't play. So I kind of missed the boat in that whole deal. But that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was and yeah. So like I said, growing up in Peterborough playing, it's just you couldn't ask for a better place to play. The parents are so their doors are always open for you. I had so many parents that from other kids, their parents are just like parents to me. You know, it's just it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. They were totally understanding what my mom having three boys. You know, you got a couple of the boys are really good athletes and they should be playing something, right?
Right.
And a lot of families took us on board and said, "Hey, I'm taking care of it. I'm taking care of it. Don't worry about Johnny's playing, Joey's playing, or whoever's playing, right?"
Mhm.
And but yeah, no, Peterborough is a beautiful, beautiful town. Beautiful town.
Now, did you ever make it past that after the junior years?
Yeah, I dabbled a little bit with the Lakers, and
Right.
then I played a little. Actually, my claim to fame with the Lakers, this is kind of funny, is when a Six Nations senior team, their first year, their inaugural season, their very first game at home was against Peterborough. I got the first goal in that building. Somebody sent me the videotape of that game. It's on YouTube, actually. I
Oh
actually
wow.
watched it. Yeah, it's on there. Their inaugural game, and I got the very first goal in that building. And then, yeah, I played a little bit there, and then I was 31, Montreal, the Express. I got a phone call from gentleman from the Montreal Express, and he invited me to Montreal's training camp with the Toronto Rock out of the Maple Leaf Gardens.
Right.
And I accepted, and I was going to go. I got in shape to go. I was stick ready. I was fit. I was 31,
Hmm.
but I just started a new employment where I had to work every other weekend.
Right.
What's more important, right? You know,
Yeah, that's the
every game,
lacrosse.
every
The
game was an
lacrosse
away
curse.
game. Every home game to me was an away game, and all the games were on the weekends. So I kind of weighed what's more important. Obviously the family, right?
Right. Of course.
But no, yeah. Then I just became a fan ever since. I've been watching ever since.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you dabbled in writing as well because you got together with the Cross Check boys out in
Yes.
Philadelphia. And how
Yeah.
did that come about? How did that
Well,
meeting come about? Because it's kind of a
well,
distance
that
thing.
Dave Coleman. Dave Coleman, I give him credit with Crosscheck Magazine. He got me back involved into the love for the game, really, because I took so many years off, and then I was going through a serious court case over the last few years,
Hmm.
and Dave had reached out to me to be a part of Crosscheck Magazine during the court case.
Hmm.
And I said, well, I'd love to, Dave. I said, I got a lot on my plate right now. And he goes, well, when this is all said and done, John, you reach out to me. So I reached out to him when it was all said and done. And I jumped on board with Dave, and it's been full steam ahead ever since. I really haven't stopped. I've
Right.
been getting involved in so much now, which is awesome. I love it. I love it.
And you're doing primarily what Peterborough backstories or
Yeah, Peterborough backstories. Yeah, we do like the MLL 93 and earlier is pretty much what Crosscheck deals in,
yeah.
and I like to do a lot on the 74, 75. season
Mhm.
with the NLL with Dad and Peterborough. All the Peterborough backstories that are involved with it.
Sure.
People just love it. People just love it. And they lap it up, and yeah, it's been great. It's been tremendous. It's been
It's
tremendous.
funny because when we had Jim Wasson on the show, he talked
Yeah,
about Jim was great, but
Jim's awesome.
he was talking about back in '74 and '75,
Yep.
everything that the NLL is striving for now. Well, they had back then. You
Yes,
had you had mainstream arenas, full arenas. You had TV deals. You had good pay for the players, especially comparative. If you take a look at what they made then and put that
yeah.
in today's dollars, they made great money back then.
Yes, they did. Well, there were only what 6 teams,
Mhm.
I believe it was. Like I'm kind of worrying about the NLL maybe having too many teams,
Mhm.
kind of flooding out the talent. Like everybody's good. Like I see a difference in today's game as opposed like years ago you had your greats.
Mhm.
And not too long ago there was a time when we also had our greats too, like Johnny Grant Jr.,
Mhm.
John Tavares, all of those guys.
Mhm.
What I'm seeing today is just a lot of really good guys.
Yeah.
I don't see those guys that you could put your face you could really identify with. Maybe it's just me, but I don't see those exceptional talents like there used to be. It's just that everybody's so good now and everybody's so fit. Everybody's so fit now. That might be the reason why. But I don't see those guys that are consistent like those guys could take over a game and it was just their
Mhm.
picture would be everywhere in the building and be outside of the building. I just kind of washed down. I'm afraid the NLL might be getting a little washed down.
Right.
It's great.
Your
It's
dad.
great.
Your
I
dad.
love it. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just afraid it might be getting a little washed down.
Right. Your dad mentioned it in one of his interviews. Was that back when he played, he'd be on the floor 48 to 55 minutes a game because he played
Yeah.
both sides of the ball. Whether it
Yes.
was transition, defense, offense, there was no such thing as going to the boards and somebody else coming on taking.
No.
So that's another reason why you would get to recognize those faces because they're there so often. I was laughed when he goes, "Yeah, I'd have to take a stupid penalty just to get a break." I'd be
Yeah, I
on
know.
the
It's true though. It's true. Sometimes you would look forward to getting a penalty because you're on the floor so much. I miss those days. I wish I will never see it again.
right,
But but those getting back and being able to, you go down their end and somebody does something that's not too nice to you. Well, it's nice to be able to get a crack at them, not
hmm
having to go off and let somebody else have to deal with them, right? Yeah, the
right.
two-way game was so much faster, and the wooden sticks, miss the wooden sticks. That I would love to see the NLL do an all-star game, nothing but wooden sticks.
Oh wow.
Once, give us a wooden stick game. Give us a wooden stick game for just once, even to give us, just once would be so nice to see.
It's to
Can
give
I add,
everybody a taste of that.
can I
The
add
fans would love it. I don't know if some of the players who didn't really grow up with wooden sticks would appreciate being checked by one, but
Hmm.
that was part of the game at one time. Hey?
I just add one little point as far as the greatness of players today as
Yeah,
opposed to back then? You talked about the 6 teams, and now there are so many teams.
absolutely,
Part of the
Frank.
problem is that not everybody gets to see everybody on a regular basis and
Yeah,
develop the affinity you're talking about. I think that's part of it too.
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Like there's some areas, they have big names, they have a lot of good players, but you don't hear about them. It's
You don't see them, you don't know they exist. If
no,
the thing about the love of the game is you know what a great lacrosse player looks like, but you have to see him to know he's great. You can't just
yeah,
hear see him
and
on the
that's a marketing thing. I think.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a definite marketing thing with the NLL. It could be better. I think it could be better, but
Oh, definitely.
that's
I've been
their
screaming
world.
about that for years. They finally got the TV thing right, and they finally have the TV deals where at least you have a game of the week. But I've,
Yeah,
I've been screaming
yeah.
about that forever. We have the greatest secret known to mankind,
It's
and
been
it's
forever.
like a cat secret.
We've had the best secret forever known to mankind,
Yeah,
right?
and it's about
most
time to let it out to
big
the box.
Peterborough.
Absolutely.
Have you been to a game here, Frank? Frank, have you ever been down to a game here?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago, were you? Yeah, yeah.
The club I play at the Toronto Beaches lacrosse junior team.
Okay, yeah. When it was just friends and family in the stands.
I don't even think they were there.
Yeah, because Peterborough went through its. We went through a rough. I remember those days.
Yeah,
I
there were
remember
people
those
there,
days.
but no, it wasn't that big a deal, and the arena wasn't a lot of fun to be in because if it rained
No,
the
no, it wasn't.
next day.
No, it wasn't. No, no.
Yeah, it wasn't very comfortable, but the game was awesome. That's back for people who don't know. They actually played on concrete. They didn't play on
Yes.
turf forever. So
Yep. Yep.
and,
Well,
and
we played on turf in junior. We had turf down in the late '80s at the Memorial Center. Yeah, because we all played on turf here in Peterborough back in junior. But it was, yeah, because they did a big fundraiser to raise the one they wanted to get a turf down,
Mhm.
and we the late '80s is when we got it was when Peterborough got the turf.
well, it made it a lot easier to play because of the footing, right? That's
Oh,
the biggest thing, right? And when
oh,
I
it
was
was so nice.
games, if the floor had a little bit of sweat, it was like they were on skis.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
We'd play here, and then we'd go to Etobicoke or we'd go to Brampton, and we'd be sliding all over the place.
especially in the
You'd be pouring Coke on the bench just to make the bench nice and sticky, just to transfer it onto your shoes, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
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 Now
Good old
I want to jump things here a little bit. The Uganda connection.
Yes.
I have a lot of like the kids, the grown ups from Uganda as friends on Facebook, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
tend to spend a lot of time messaging back and forth, and
Yep.
they're asking about drills and coaching and all kinds of things. How did you get involved with Uganda? And I want to get into the equipment drive as well. But let's
Yeah.
talk about the basic of how you got started with them in the first place.
Well, the way it started was they started following Crosscheck. A couple of them started following Crosscheck magazine, and then a couple summers ago, Pete Dalladay, whose house I'm at now,
Right.
Peter got a hold of me and said, "John, I want to do this thing. I want to collect lacrosse sticks, and I want to give them away to kids that need a stick. Do you want to give me a hand?" So I gave him a hand. We were doing that for a little bit, and then people started dropping off equipment, and then more equipment kept coming, and then I was talking to more of Uganda about equipment, and they wanted equipment, and how do I get it over there? And then Brent Alexander from the Buffalo Bandits,
Hmm.
uh, he reached out to me, and they were doing the Uganda drive, and he asked me if I wanted to jump on board. So I
Right.
jumped on board, and I jumped on board, and that's how the Uganda equipment drive started. It was actually Peter Dalladay here that actually got the ball rolling on that, and it just snowballed, and I just carried on with it. And the Ugandan people, I talk to them all the time. They're great. I've come close with a couple of the kids over there.
Hmm.
I sent one of the boys. I sent him his own little package. But the stuff that went, his own helmet, his own gloves, his own shaft, a couple extra shafts, shoes, shirts, fishing stuff. And I've just kept a good relationship going with them with the men's and women's team over there.
Right.
It's unfortunate what just happened to the women's team, though.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
bring that up also, which is
unbelievable.
ridiculous.
That's so sad. And Noah, and they're just really good people, and they have programs popping up all over the place over there now. It's unbelievable. Like they only had a handful, and now every community seems to be
Yeah,
looking for equipment now because they're all playing now, and it's like
and it's men and women
unbelievable.
both. Both of them are
Men
growing.
and men and
Absolutely.
women both. Yes, yes, and
Because
it's starting to
I have
cook.
Dave Libby always sending me videos of things that are going on there. And
Yeah,
some
yeah,
amazing games they're just incredible, and they've learned the skills
yes,
just
yes,
with a couple of coaches that have been over there and teaching, and these
yeah.
guys are doing God's work because
Oh, absolutely.
they are absolutely instilling all the skills
Yeah.
necessary.
I
And
get
these,
sent a lot of video, and I critique a lot of their video,
Mhm.
and yeah, some of them are very skilled for sure. Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. Even the ones that were initially not as skilled, just the beauty is that I keep getting these videos and watching them progress. And it's like, wow, wow. And they're like sponges. They
Yeah.
they
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're very very coachable. Like I
Very,
really hope that
very
they dig
appreciative.
into these things because because they're going to be a force at some point.
I'd like to see a couple of them get over here and get in our leagues.
Hmm.
I know a couple of them want to so bad, but they can't even get their women's team over here to play. I
Oh
just don't
yeah.
know all the particulars about one of them coming over. I just don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know how that would all work.
Well, just for viewers that don't know, the U.S. Decision apparently that they were not going to issue visas to the women's team
Yeah.
because they're coming from an impoverished country. Now,
I think they're afraid that they may not go back.
but are they going to do that with a soccer team or a
I
basketball team? I
I
highly doubt
don't know. I don't
that.
know.
That's where the question comes in because it just seems odd that a women's lacrosse team, if you're going to come make your living, I don't think you're going to come into the U.S. to try and make it as a women's lacrosse player.
No, but there's one thing I knowing how Uganda is, and just knowing just the politics of the world. I think the men's team would have been here.
Yeah,
I think the men's
well,
team
I
would have
think they
been
would have
here.
made a bigger splash actually if the men's
You
team
know.
came here. Like I say, it's they're ready. They've been part of the World Lacrosse Organization now. I think they got their full charter a year or two ago.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they did. During the Olympics, the men, they have their Olympic bid now. Uh, like the men seem to be getting everything. The women are trying real hard, but they're having troubles.
yeah.
And I don't know what can be done about it. It's too late now because the worlds are already on. They already missed that.
Hmm.
And a lot of those girls that would have been their only time at it.
Right.
That would
Well,
have
let's
been their
hope
only.
that the World Lacrosse Organization starts working in their favor and starts trying to lobby some of these bigger organizations. I think that's their only chance. Michelle Boyer is a friend of the show,
Yep.
and hopefully that she'll be able to get to the bottom of some of the stuff and fix or try to fix some of the crazy stuff that's just unnecessary in all
It
this.
is. They've been working so hard to get their paperwork, all their documents in order, and they all thought they were there. I've been talking to them, and then all of a sudden that happens to them.
Yeah,
Like devastating. They're just devastated.
yeah. I hope it doesn't devastate the program in its own right because you get something like that dismays you, then you just it's enough of that, and over
Yeah,
here you
yeah.
go.
It
And
might
now
hurt the women's program. It might hurt the women's program.
I'm hoping that they're resilient and
Well, me too.
I think it'll inspire them to do better because I mean, especially nowadays, right? Um, I don't see this being a long-term problem. The problem is there's a lot of people that think they know what's best for women's sports, and there's a wrestling match to see. It's happening in hockey. If you notice, they're wrestling over who gets control of what's going on, right?
Yep.
Because where there was no power, now there's power, and now there's a bit of an attempt to grab at that power, I think, and everybody thinks they know what's best. And that's the battle that you're up against all the time. That's why Peterborough's such a great lacrosse town.
Yeah.
All right, and that's the challenge, right? You got to develop a history, and history's not easy to develop.
No, no. It's just Congo have made. I mean, not Congo, but Uganda have made so. They made their strides have been so huge in the game.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just now because of Uganda, you're starting to see the trickle down. You see Congo.
Hmm.
Congo are starting to have lacrosse.
Canada,
Kenya have lacrosse on the go now. It's it's just there's just no need for Uganda to say no to the women. There was no need for that. I don't
I
think.
agree. I agree. All right, let's turn a corner again. Let's talk about State of the Unions. Let's
Yep.
first off start with the State of the Union of the major series lacrosse because God knows it's been a turbulent little while here.
Oh,
We
yes, it
finally
has
have
been.
games. We have 4 teams, but we have games. So where do you see this? Is MSL in trouble?
Yes, if they don't, yes, I do think they're in trouble. Like I don't think Oakville should not have dropped out. Um, I think they should have been fined heavily on that myself. I don't that shouldn't be allowed. That's a no in my books.
Right.
I would love to see Orangeville get a team. I would love to see Owen Sound have a team. Um, this league, there's room. There's so much room for the MSL to start filling other areas, other cities on maps, and I really do think that they really should explore that area. It's unfortunate what's gone on in Brampton, but they can't get people because they used to be such a powerhouse with such tremendous history,
Mm-hmm.
and
And the demographic change in the city too, right?
absolutely, absolutely. The times are changing. Times are changing, and maybe Brampton has had their day. I hope not, but that's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get people in the rink to watch games.
Right.
I really don't.
It's a history.
That it
You know,
is.
Like Brampton, you was so strong. Their history, playing against them, the rivalries. It's just it's petered off so much over the years.
It's
Like
also the money to run the team, though, right? When they don't have the sponsorship,
no.
how do you run a team that costs $250,000 a year
How
when
can
there's
you
no
pay a
money,
player?
and,
Yeah,
and
how,
you can't pay your players? So of course they're going to go to Six Nations or to Peterborough where they're going to get paid.
yeah,
So
yeah,
those teams keep getting stronger, and
yeah,
then you have the other teams where, well, I want to play, so I'm going to go play here and there.
yeah. But Peterborough's so fortunate that a lot of our guys are homegrown guys. Like
Right.
they're still here. It's amazing. It'd be like we don't have to bring in too many. Sometimes we don't have to bring in too many because it's just the way it is. Everybody, it's just a lot of the guys are Peterborough guys as it is, right?
Sure. Well, you brought up the other one with Orangeville. I still don't understand why Orangeville doesn't have an MSL.
Oh, me
Take
neither.
a look at when Junior plays and the Tony Rose Arena. You can't get a seat.
No, and give Huntsville a team.
Okay.
I think Huntsville should have a team. That place is full. It's always full. It's a great. Huntsville is a great lacrosse town. Great lacrosse town.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
yeah,
the OLA needs to start looking at this stuff instead of just spending more time in the back room doing political stuff.
absolutely.
They need to
I
look at
agree.
locations and start growing it, because otherwise, with 4 teams comes 3 teams, we can't have a league.
But they say location, location, location. Even in the sports world, even in
yeah.
the sports world.
The other problem is, and it seems to be always in sports, is we're all so busy looking for the home run, we forget that you can score a lot of runs with a lot of hits.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't look at the little things that add up to better than the home run, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody's in love with the home run, and they don't see that there's a bunch of hits you can put together to win a game. And in the case of, like you said, and like you guys have said, it's a question of the game, how it's appreciated where it is. Does it have an appropriate stadium, and is it full?
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be the priorities, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think personally, MSL finally came up with something. It's almost like they're catching up to Peterborough, because with the Rogers announcement that you can now catch the games on Rogers TV online,
Yeah.
and you can catch it on YouTube on the MSL YouTube
Yep.
page. Well, Peterborough's been doing the Rogers thing for a while now, haven't they?
Well, no, yeah. Our coverage, even our TV coverage, is so professional. Like it's like we have Pete. We have such a professional. It's done right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I can teach you something about that. Rogers, I was with Rogers 20 something years ago, and 20 something
yep.
years before they were doing junior games throughout Ontario, they were doing Peterborough first.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's
It-
interesting. I didn't
Rogers,
know that.
Peterborough has always been interested in sports there.
Oh, it's a great sports town. It is such a. It's different than every other. It's different than a lot of other places. That's for sure. When it comes to 100,000 people or less.
Right. It's Czechs,
Right.
though, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
Czech. Yeah.
And
Peter's
they've
dad.
always been, yeah.
Oh, like Peter's dad, Gary Daly, was the voice of the Pete's forever. And Peter's filled his shoes really
Mhm.
well. Peter's getting ready to go to the game tonight. They call the Lakers Nations game tonight, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, X, the station that showed the Montreal games, while all the other Ontario's channels showed the Leaf game.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're back to that. All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
I'm rubbing it in.
once you're a Hab fan, you're a Hab fan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's okay. My dad's a Blackhawk fan. How bad is that?
oh, wow.
That's bad.
he had a couple of good ones.
Yeah, I guess.
The other part of the State of the Union thing I'd like to bring up is the PLL, the Premier Lacrosse League.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know everybody goes, but the contract situation there and how it affects WLA and MSL,
Yeah.
and eventually that's going to affect what we're going to see for the Mann Cup.
We're losing a lot of good players, that's for sure.
That's the threat. It's the threat. It's not really right. It's John. It's not established that that's the case.
Yeah, they're not here. Zach isn't here. We don't have our PLL guys here.
So they're not, and they're definitely not coming.
No.
No, and
No,
the Oakville
they
guys
can't.
that
They're
can't
not
play are
allowed.
over there playing for PLL now.
They're not allowed to. Not allowed to.
Well, we had a conversation where there might be some question about how much pressure there is for players that are playing in the PLL not to play in the Mann Cup.
Well, if they're going to settle it, they better settle it soon because we're knee deep into the season here. But my understanding, though, Frank, is no, it's they're done. They can't play. They can't play. You know, we've lost good man. We've lost Courier. Like we've lost some decent players, and like other teams have lost a lot of good players. It's definitely going to hurt the summer league, absolutely. But we'll fill the holes. Like Peterborough, we can fill the holes. We'll be okay. You know, they have a face off guy now, which is pretty good. So they were quick, but yeah, the PLL is kind of put a damper on it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. The interesting part for me is when the PLL wants to do their champions thing in February, and of course it's in the middle of the NLL season, so the NLL is going to be going. I'm sorry, no, can't be doing
Yeah,
that. So they're going to have to use their player pool.
yeah.
But that's when they're going to introduce the lacrosse sixes and try and get that refined for the Olympics, and have their TV guys trying to refine it so that when the final product comes out in 2028,
Yeah.
all the bugs are gone, right?
Well,
Does it
well,
grow the game though that way? Because now they're using
yeah,
player
I don't
pool,
know.
and guys who normally wouldn't get a crack at it are going to get a crack at it. Probably a lot of NCAA kids, but
But there could be some really good hidden talent that we wouldn't see.
mhm,
Also, you know, we're going to see some talent we wouldn't see elsewhere. You know, we
right,
just wouldn't see it, which is great for those guys because they may find a home. You know, they may find a solid home somewhere.
right,
Like there's good and bad, but there just always seems to be something going on, doesn't there?
yeah, yeah. Nothing is
Always
ever just
something.
that smooth season.
No.
There's always a backstory somewhere. It's not,
Yes, there
we happen to have a
is.
lot of them this year. A little crazy about everything, but eventually I'm glad we're having a season because we that didn't look too good either.
No, because it states if you have six or less, you have to amalgamate with the senior Bs, and you know, by rights, Peterborough should have amalgamated with senior B. Everybody should have amalgamated, but I'm glad they got it figured out. They're going to go with four teams, and they can make it work. Could you imagine the West? Like they're a month into the season, month and a half into their season,
Yeah, they're 7, 8
and
games in already.
and all of a sudden the East folds.
Hmm.
Like, what are we playing for now, guys? Like
Well,
we
now
just
the
wasted. What a
well,
waste.
isn't the joke now that the West can win the Man Cup now?
Maybe, yeah, yeah.
I would imagine that would be the big joke in Peterborough with the three guys. Now you guys
We're
can
going
actually
for
win
a
the Man
four-peat. We're going for a four-peat.
Cup. I know, and it's looking very good.
I
In
hope
fact,
so.
I think tonight's game is actually a litmus test of how good it's going to be, because you have the two top teams with Six Nations and Peterborough.
And they're going
Uh,
to be the last two teams standing, battling for sure.
I
Absolutely.
think so. Coburg's up and coming, but they've been up and coming for a while. But they're actually solid. I think finally having Jim Milligan as a coach there, I think that is really really probably John Webb's best move, because he's got the patience
Yes,
and
he does.
the knowledge to be able to mold that team to bring it up to that kind of a
No,
quality.
yeah, Jimmy's been on a few benches now. Jimmy, he's played. He's been on a few benches. He's a Peterborough boy.
Hmm.
And so is Mark Crow beside him.
Yep.
Both of them are Peterborough boys, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jimmy's a good guy.
And Brooklyn,
I
they're always
I played
always.
with Jimmy and Junior as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, we're same
Yeah,
age. We're same age
Tim's been a
bracket.
guest of ours as well. He did, very well spoken,
Yeah,
very knowledgeable.
yeah.
Let's say his lineage is excellent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, Jimmy, he's a good coach. He's a good coach. They'll
Mhm.
be fine. It's just they're new. They're new. They just need to. They'll get the right bodies in there one day, and they're gonna have a good year here soon. I don't think they're far off from having a good year. From what I'm seeing now, like they're in every game till deep. They're in every game deep. You
Well,
know,
they,
and
they also picked up some of the players that weren't getting playing with Brampton or Owen Sound or whatever.
and that's a huge
Steve
plus.
Orman in net is a big bolster up. So all of a sudden, from the back out, they got a lot stronger.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's some teams picked up some like they are going to be good within the next couple of years. I really do think they're really going to be good. I really do.
But then again, Peterborough, with Landon Kells in net. That was, I've watched him since he's in Arena Lacrosse League,
Yeah.
and he always was in the thick of things. But he needed that little extra, and it seems from what I've been able to see so far this year, it looks like he's in the right situation with the right team in front of him that he can grab that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree too. He has a strong team in front of him, which that's what he needs. Excuse me. Like if you have a weak team in front of you and you're still trying to find your footing, your confidence, you can lose your confidence pretty quick.
Yeah,
You can lose that confidence pretty quick for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
it's a forgiving team, but it's also a good transition team, so he can get it up the floor in a hurry and relieve the pressure off himself with an outlet
Oh,
pass and away he goes. Right, so
and a great crowd behind him. Hey.
that never hurts either. Yeah, with
Oh,
3,000 people
absolutely.
screaming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
a rock
Yeah, but
star.
sometimes there's 3,000 people screaming at the goalie for the wrong reason too.
Yeah, well, we talked about that during the Buffalo series, right? In the Buffalo Colorado thing, 19,000 people is exciting, except when nothing's happening and they're turning on you.
That's
It's
right.
not so exciting
That's
anymore.
right.
Especially when they expect a lot.
Yeah. Well, our fans here are so knowledgeable. They get it. He's up and coming. They're pretty patient here. We're pretty patient here because we know we have the team out front to make some noise, right? So we're pretty good when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well, you still have Cooper still on the team,
winning
right?
too, right?
What's that, Frank? Sorry.
Teaches patience too. Winning
Yes.
teaches patience too.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
it's not like you guys are a bunch of Leaf fans, waiting 59 years for something to happen. Right? So, I mean, we're talking Peterborough here, not Toronto.
No, I know. No, yeah, it's a good place. It helps anybody who comes here to play. They're really at an advantage, whether you're out front or whether you're in net. It's just there's so much knowledge here. There's so many people to step in. That's just the way it is here. It's a pretty sweet place.
Isn't the strongest thing about tradition is that when you know what winning looks like, it's easier to revisit.
Easy, very easy to revisit. Very easy to revisit, and very tough when you lose it. Very tough when you lose.
Because you know
Very.
how close it can be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Losing is very tough too. But Peterborough is a great place to win, though. Great place to win.
Absolutely,
Give me
absolutely.
questions, Gary. We're
And
down.
even our Hall of Fame in the Memorial Center is like no other.
Oh yeah,
Like
and you're in the Hall of Fame.
everything about the Memorial Center and sports in Peterborough is just a step above so many other areas. It's
Well,
just
yeah, the pomp and circumstance of the Peterborough Lacrosse Hall of Fame period is
yeah.
over and above most.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like the history is so rich. The history is so rich, and we have events every year. We bring all the legends back every year, probably 3-4 times a year. There's golf tournaments. There's fundraisers like last night. It's just the Peterborough's marketing people do a really good job.
Yeah,
They do a really good job of marketing Peterborough Laker Lacrosse, for sure.
It's the old saying about appreciating what you have and keep building on it, keep on supporting it, and keep on making it relevant, right?
Absolutely, Frank, for
Like,
sure.
never let it go to sleep.
And they do it here. And they do it here. Like and all the veterans that are here, like Johnny Grant Sr., Was, Bobby Allen, like all these guys are such a part of our Lakers team,
right.
and the whole community knows these guys forever. It's just it doesn't stop. The ball just keeps rolling. You know what I mean? It just keeps rolling.
Right.
You know, it's pretty sweet. So get it. We need an NLL team soon.
Amen. Yes.
Well, that's on that note. We gotta go. So we did full circle. NLL.
Very good.
Jamie Cowick will be calling Gary a little later to ask some serious questions. I will be.
What am I
I
doing?
tell you what, it's been a lot of fun, man. Been really nice talking to you. Get
Yeah,
to hear
thanks
you.
for taking the time, John. Really appreciate it.
And thanks for having me. It's nice to be back in the game. Like I said, I had some past. A lot of people know my past, but I took care of it. And Dave Coleman brought me back. He got me into the thick of things, and it's just been never-ending ride since. And I just love it. And I gladly do it again anytime, guys. If you guys need anything, reach out to me.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much, John. I look forward to
Absolutely.
seeing you later on.
I'll see you tonight.
You betcha. I'm on my way as
All
soon as.
right. Go Lakers, go. Go Leafs, go.
There you have to go. John Davis, Sr. was our guest. Gary Groob, of course, our co-host. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching NLL Lacrosse Talk. Seen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Lacrosse Talk, news, entertainment, other sports programming we offer, please check out spanglishworld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next Thursday.
Bye, guys.